Just in case you thought the Grady twins were the only spooky siblings you could have nightmares about, I'm here to prove you very, very wrong. You're welcome. I'm Tilly from What Culture Horror, and these are the 10 scariest horror movie twins. 10. Beau and Vincent Sinclair, House of Wax. The House of Wax remake has been criticised as being a below-average horror film, but there is no denying that the story of the Sinclair twins is pretty disturbing. Twins Beau and Vincent are introduced at the start of the film as children set in 1974, with one of them nicely eating his breakfast and the other having a violent tantrum and having to be strapped to his chair. We never see their faces, so it is left to the viewer to assume that the normal-looking twin must be the better-behaved one. Throughout the film, we find out that they were initially conjoined twins who were separated, and the twist is that the disfigured, hidden Vincent is actually the good twin, who just wanted to make wax models, even if he did off Paris Hilton, which I personally will never forgive. However, it's the handsome Beau who is the evil twin who started murdering people to make mannequins from his still breathing victims. It is indeed a horrifying fate to comprehend, and that's before the infamous skin peeling scene. 9. Holly and Heather Dahl, A Haunting at Silver Falls. Similarly to House of Wax, this ghost story teaches us the lesson that people who look frightening are not always the ones we should be afraid of. Twins Holly and Heather were murdered 20 years before the events of the film, and as far as the town urban legend is aware, their father was the killer and is now on death row. The film sets the girls up as being out for vengeance on the town, with their terrifying, rotting, zombie-like appearance further enhancing this idea. Protagonist Jordan encounters the girls after going to live with her aunt and uncle in Silver Falls. They haunt her and appear hostile, attacking her in the bath and telling her, "You're next." Never a good sign in a horror movie. The twins are clearly capable of enacting harm on the living, but it is only in the final act of the film that we realise their anger is not directed at Jordan, and they were just trying to warn her about their real killers, her aunt and uncle. The final fate of the murderers is left to the imagination as the girls attack them off camera to the sound of their horrific screams. 8. Pim and Ploy Alone. This scary Thai ghost story tells the tale of conjoined twins, Pim and Ploy. When the girls both fall in love with a boy called Wee, he only wants to be with Pim. She demands that Ploy agree to an operation to separate them so that she can be with him. Ploy dies in the operation, and an apparently guilt-ridden Pim moves to South Korea to escape her remorse and marry Wee. The twisty events that follow highlight not only a horrific betrayal that Ploy enacted on Pim, but how angry and full of vengeance Pim's ghost is for what happened to her. It is revealed that Ploy murdered her sister and went on to pose as her to steal Wee. In an additional evil act, she then killed their mother when she thought she was going to reveal her secret. Pim finally gets her revenge, holding her sister down and making it impossible for her to escape a raging house fire. 7. Todd and Terry Simmons, Blood Rage. Blood Rage is a classic good versus evil twin story, with young, angelic-looking Terry brutally killing a man with an axe and then, without missing a beat, blaming his innocent brother Todd, who is too stunned by what he has seen to object. Terry's hatred of Todd is never fully explained, leading us to assume that it is not so much the case that he dislikes his twin, more that he has no feelings for him at all, seeing him as a convenient scapegoat. He has no remorse for his actions sending his brother to an insane asylum. Todd's escape from the institution is only motivated by trying to clear his name and to stop his twin committing more attacks. Terry, on the other hand, has managed to avoid killing anyone for 10 years. Good for him. So sees his psychotic twin's escape as the perfect alibi for him to give in to his urges and go on a murderous rampage. Less good for him. Terry is such a manipulative psychopath that his mother is absolutely convinced that he is the good twin, to the point that she heartbreakingly takes her own life when she thinks she has accidentally killed her virtuous son at the climax of the final battle. 6. Kelly and Terry Fairchild, The Initiation. What is it with evil twins called Terry? Anyway, the evil twin aspect to this film is the big twist finale, but is actually revealed in the opening scene and heavily hinted at throughout the story. College student Kelly is an amnesiac who has recurring nightmares of walking in on her parents in bed as a child and stabbing her father before he pushes an intruder into the fire. It turns out that this event actually happened, but not quite the way Kelly remembered it. She was so traumatized by seeing her twin sister stab the man her mother was having an affair with, who then horrifically burned her father, that she completely forgot she had a twin or who her her real father even was. Kelly's twin Terry was sent to an insane asylum following the attack and built up incredible rage against her sister, jealous that she got to live a normal life. Their still-alive father helps her escape while working as a gardener at the hospital. The two of them go on the hunt for Kelly on the night of her sorority initiation, brutally attacking anyone who gets in their way. The final showdown between the girls highlights the animosity Terry feels for her sister. Even though she was justifiably institutionalized for her actions, she feels she didn't deserve to be labeled the bad twin because in her eyes, she was defending her father. 5. Jonah and Seth Trimble, seconds apart. Jonah and Seth Trimble are a particularly horrible duo. Blessed with telepathic and telekinetic powers, the downside is that they are unable to feel emotion. They spend their time reading people's minds, then telekinetically forcing them to harm themselves, hoping to elicit some sort of reaction from them. Played by actual real-life twins Gary and Edmund Enton, they are incredibly creepy. They dress the same and have identical mannerisms and voices and desire no other companionship other than each other. A detective investigating their case discovers that their mother had submitted herself and the boys to experiments at a fertility clinic in order to become pregnant, which led to their abilities. A truly disturbing flashback shows us their terrible home life, which stemmed from them forcing their parents to disfigure each other when they were just children. Lovely. The seemingly unstoppable twins do finally get their comeuppance, but it is a bittersweet resolution for the viewer as the prospect of their death seems to please them as they finally get to experience fear. 4. Holland and Niles Perry, the other. Twin boys, sensible Niles and mischievous Holland are cared for by their Russian grandmother Ada, on her farm after the death of their father the previous year, with their grieving mother refusing to leave her room. Ada teaches Niles a game where he learns to astrally project his mind into other beings, but unfortunately Niles isn't very responsible with his new power, and with Holland's increasingly evil influence, soon grisly fates start to befall anyone who the twins take a disliking to. It is horrifyingly made clear how scary such a power is in the hands of someone who is still too young to have developed a moral compass. The twist to the movie is fantastically delivered, with it being revealed that Holland has been dead since he fell down a well on their birthday the previous year, and Niles used his ability to speak to his brother just before he died, keeping him alive in his mind ever since. Niles wrestles with his brother's influence, but he ultimately proves unstoppable, with his family, including his mother and grandmother, all suffering as he completely loses himself to his brother's ghost. 3. Elliot and Beverly Mantle, Dead Ringers. This David Cronenberg psychological horror stars Jeremy Irons as twin gynecologists Elliot and Beverly Mantle, who run a fertility clinic together. It is a twisted story where confident Elliot seduces their patients, then passes them on to shy Beverly when he's bored of them. When one of the women catches on, Beverly is unable to mentally cope with the situation and descends into madness and drug addiction. Cronenberg had already proven he was quite the visionary with movies such as The Fly, and demonstrated his talents again with his invisible joining of Jeremy Irons' terrifying performances. Irons manages to wonderfully create two distinct personalities, with the confident Elliot convincingly dominating the nervous, quiet Beverly. His acting really carries the film and invests the viewer in their chaotic relationship. Beverly goes on to hallucinate and imagine deformed women in his office, and creates disturbing gynecological instruments which he uses to operate on them, to the horror of his theatre staff and audience alike. Elliot finally intervenes to stop his brother, but the sad climax of the film shows them killing each other. Their deaths enable them to break their codependence, but neither one ends up getting the freedom they craved. 2. Alexi and Alexa Grady, The Shining. You knew these two would be here. During Jack Torrance's interview for the position of winter caretaker at the Overlook Hotel, hotel manager Stuart Ullman tells him that the previous caretaker, Delbert Grady, lived at the hotel with his family until he went crazy with cabin fever and murdered his two daughters with an axe before killing his wife and then himself with a shotgun. It is suggested that the twins were innocent victims of their father's attack, with summer caretaker Bill Watson describing them as cute as buttons. But Jack encounters Grady's spirit in the hotel, and he tells him that one of his daughters stole a pack of matches and tried to burn down the hotel, requiring him to correct her. This leads to the possibility that one or both of the twins had the Shining and were able to sense the nefarious intent of the hotel, so Grady killed them to protect it. The girls are terrifyingly encountered by Jack's son Danny when he is exploring the hotel. Their appearance suggests they have been affected by the hotel's sinister influence and are now evil. They urge Danny to come play with us forever and ever and ever, trying to tempt him into letting the hotel take him over. I'm truly truly sorry for that impression. Their synchronised voices and outfits, coupled with the flashes to their grisly deaths, make them iconic as horror twins. And number 1. Dwayne and Belial Bradley, Basket Case. Frank Henenlotter's cult classic about separated conjoined twins Dwayne Bradley and his basket-dwelling brother Belial is as inventive as it is gruesome. The basic premise is similar to so many others on this list. The brothers were born as conjoined twins, with Dwayne looking normal while Belial is more conventionally sinister. They were separated against their will as children and seek revenge against the doctors that forced the operation on them. Despite the low budget, the relationship between the twins has a surprisingly interesting arc. Dwayne attempts to be perceived as a normal person, having the added effect that people are not suspicious of him and are unaware of the terrifying Belial hiding in the basket ready to brutally attack. He repeatedly tries to keep his brother safe while trying to stop him killing people. The sequel sees Dwayne and Belial seeking refuge from the police and reporters at Granny Ruth's house of unique individuals. We witness Belial's feelings of rejection and jealousy of Dwayne attempting to build a life with Ruth's daughter Susan. Dwayne faces the internal conflict of desiring a regular life while not wanting to desert his brother. Just when it looks like he might escape though, it's all snatched away from him and we see him finally giving in to accepting his life with his brother by horrifically sewing him back onto his side.